And so that's an amazing thing that Zoom has done. And I think we're getting good at using these tools. So this topic, it is an exploration, like Esegul was saying, because it's really something that I've just been thinking about recently. And so I'm not really sure how adept I am at this point in sharing my explorations, but we're going to do it together because in the end, it is a very rich topic. As Esugal then was saying, it throws us back to the fairy tale, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And for those of you who don't know the fairy tale, there was this horrible person who was so insecure because of her horribleness. The only way she could know herself as okay or beautiful was to look in this mirror every day. And this mirror would tell her, this mirror would assure her that she's beautiful, until one day it didn't. And that's the whole story. What is a mirror for? Essentially, a mirror is to tell me about myself. It's to reflect back to me an image of myself without judgment and with all simplicity. A physical mirror tells me if my tie is straight, if my hair is smooth, if my outfit matches. That's the job of a mirror. Simply, without judgment, to tell me about myself, possibly something I didn't see in myself. So what is our spiritual mirror? What is the mirror we need to be looking into to see if we're okay? If we are making progress, what would you say? Anybody have a thought? What is the mirror that we need to be looking into? So you can be writing in the chat. I see somebody gesturing the heart. Okay, here we go. The heart could be a mirror, and indeed, Baba's vision of us. Yeah, that's so nice. And somebody was saying the heart, because Baba does say, look in the mirror of your heart. So what does that mean exactly? We'll have a chance to explore that too.
I just thought that the
consciousness,
not the consciousness, but the conscious. Maybe I couldn't pronounce it very well.
Yeah, conscience. Okay. Yeah, yes, that's right. Conscience. That's right. Conscience. Yeah, that's right. Many people would say Baba would be my mirror, Baba's vision on me. Very, very important mirror, and there are different words we can use. My state of happiness, somebody is saying. These would be quite powerful mirrors, wouldn't they? My conscience, as Esegul was saying. So just to explore this a little bit, I'd like to do two little activities together with you. In this first activity, if you could just take a moment to think about 2 or 3 principles which really guide your life. 2 or 3 principles which are very important for you. You won't mess up on them because they are guidelines for your life. So just take a few minutes to reflect on that. Maybe write them down if you have paper and pencil. Yeah. Anybody want to share?
Maybe
Truth.
I could, because
Mhm.
I look at the chat box and I haven't seen anything written down, but I just thought that discipline is the first one,
Discipline.
and yeah, determination and the courage. I
Yeah.
just thought three of those.
Yeah. So some were also saying different qualities like determination, disciplines, honesty, accuracy, nonviolence, honesty, principles for my life. I will always seek to be honest. I don't know what this word is, compromiso, not to compromise, maybe, if that's the English word, freedom, freedom to be, principles for my life. Like, for example, I know for myself, I will always take responsibility for my own quality of being. I will take responsibility for my stage. This is a principle for my life. I have finished. I have stopped blaming others. Commitment. Somebody said commitment. If I do something, I'm going to do it fully. Here is honesty with myself. These are principles. Principles. Second question, how easy was it for you to identify your principles? How quickly could you do it? And how easy was it for you? You don't have to answer this in the chat, but just for your own self, because there might be meaning to that. There might be significance to that. Yes, here's somebody saying to be true, to always be true. This is a principle for my life. So honestly speaking, how easy was it for you to identify 2 or 3 principles? How quickly could you do it? So that's just for your own self, and we'll take a look at what that means later. But another question, and for this, I'd like to ask Essay Girl, can you bring up that picture of Lakshmi and Narayan?
Yeah, I have shared this with the Zoom team. So the sister Binnur is going to share it.
Great. We want to see both of them. So you probably have to zoom down a bit. So again, all we're doing is unpacking the whole concept of mirrors. And what am I using to, that's a good picture, yeah. What am I using to see if I'm okay? If I'm okay, if I'm progressing. So we have shared some ideas. We've looked at our principles. And now we're looking at Lakshmi and Narayan. So take Drishti from Narayan. I don't know if you've ever played this kind of game, but I was exposed to this activity almost like the first year I was in Gyan, and I never ever forgot it. Gone back to it again and again. Take a good look and take the Drishti from Narayan. And also from Lakshmi. What qualities do you identify in their Drishti? What qualities? have they mastered? This you can share in the chat. Peace, yes, peace for sure. Someone can translate this next one. Security, stability, and power. Contentment. Eternity. Royalty. Royalty, self-respect. I'm sure I'm missing some here, but purity. If ever we have a question about what is the experience of that purity, we can look at these pictures. Dignity, very nice. I was also seeing, beyond peace, like a serenity. Oh, that's interesting. Innocence, but like a serenity. Kindness. Oh, that's interesting. Kindness and beauty. Equanimity, beautiful. Yeah, I was also kind of thinking magic, that's nice. But this equanimity, they really are masters. They really are masters. They are total sovereigns over the kingdom of the self. Benevolence, that's beautiful. Power. Yeah, did we ever imagine power to look like this? Carefree. So I can tell. Authority, yeah, that's that mastery. I can tell by the silence. Divinity, yeah. That you're enjoying this exercise. Coolness. Because it's almost as if we can get an experience of all of these qualities, all of these virtues, by being in front of these pictures, which were created in trance and then corrected by Baba. So it's very powerful. Happiness. Okay, thank you. We can finish this. I have been experimenting recently with something that has kept coming to me. So many saying completeness, wholeness. It's like so many of the words you've used just define for us purity, right? And the deity experience of a human being. All of these just describe it. It's so alive and so important and powerful, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful. So one slogan that's been coming to me a lot recently, I was recently in London in the UK for about a month. There were different retreats, classes for Rocky. And one point that I kept hearing as if teachings or slogans was in terms of what we need to be doing now. What's the most important target of our efforts and our attention has to be emerging our deity sanskaras. Emerging my deity sanskaras. And as soon as we hear this, of course we agree, because there's so little time left. And it's very clear by now, those beautiful deities, which we just experienced in great detail, they don't come like from a magic wand. They are those who emerged those sanskaras in their previous birth, which is now. They are you and me, whoever amongst us has done this work. Not just understood these qualities, not just experienced them when we're in yoga, but also experimented and started succeeding in putting these qualities into our life. And I have come to feel that actually this is a very important mirror for us. Very important mirror for us. As if my aim is a mirror and my objective. Bob always talks about our aim and objective. What's my aim? My aim is to help God establish a land of truth by becoming a true human being. This is the definition Dadi Janki gave to a deity. A deity is a true human being. This is my aim. And there are many words for it: to purify myself, to serve others. But even serving others, we've begun to understand that it's much less a lecture or an article, and so much more an aspect of a vibration. The vibration that carries all these beautiful things we just saw. So it's very interesting to see how long did it take me to identify principles that guide my life, because it could be an indication as to how much I'm in touch with the aim and the objective. How much I am in touch with my elevated sanskars, and how much I'm making that my deliberate conscious intention throughout the day, to think, to speak, and to behave from my divine sanskars. So what would be the signs that my divine sanskars are beginning to work? What would be the sign that I am using these to see if I'm okay, if I'm progressing? What would be the signs? So we can imagine good relationships, yeah. Definitely relationships would improve, but even before I'm going outwards, it's interesting.
My level of happiness.
My level of happiness. Somebody's saying lightness. So true, so true. I would know my aim. I'd be fulfilling my aim. That definitely makes me happy. Obviously, if it's my divine sanskars, making my choices for how I think or how I act is going to be happiness, lightness, deeply peaceful. I'm aligned for sure, for sure. But I was also thinking that another very important sign that I'm looking into this mirror, continually checking myself in this mirror of my divine sanskaras, is that my enthusiasm for my Brahmin life would be high. Because if we are not using this mirror, there are other mirrors that we're probably using. What would be those other mirrors? Mostly we'd be looking at other people and how they see me. I would be looking for someone to smile at me, someone to be accepting of me, someone to give me the feeling of friendship or belonging. We make people into our mirrors or situations, the results of situations. But these aren't the right mirrors. Because one thing that'll happen if I'm using the right mirror, my own divine sanskaras and how much I'm emerging them, is I would be less and less influenced by what people are saying and what people are doing. And how important is that in these times when Maya's creeping in through every single hole I have left in the soul and trying to trap me, deceive me, and take charge. So many different mirrors to tell me I'm okay, when in fact I'm not okay at all. I'm actually still quite dependent, quite influenced. Another sign, I think, that we have begun to use my divine sanskaras as my mirror is, as I was saying before, this enthusiasm for life, because, you know, what does it mean when Baba says, look in the mirror of your heart? I often thought that looking in the mirror of my heart means to check in with my conscience, like Ese Golden was saying in the beginning. Check, honestly. Is this the right way to think? Is this the right way to act? But lately, according to this research I'm doing with mirrors, I've begun to feel that looking into the mirror of my heart means in my heart of hearts, what is it I'm doing with my life? In my heart of hearts, what do I want for my life? Why am I still a Brahmin? You know, these could be kind of basic questions, but I think we really need to revisit them, especially if we see that our enthusiasm, not just for my Brahmin life, but then even for service, which takes a lot of energy and a lot of power. If that's going down, could it be because I'm distanced, I'm out of touch with the meaning of my life, what gives my life meaning? Because this is what gives my life meaning. I have signed a contract, apparently in the womb. I made a promise that I will take a new birth as a child of God, and I will help you, Baba, create a new true land of truth, by myself becoming true. And I think it's only so long that we as Brahmins can be distanced from that before we start seeing the very negative results. Again, as I was saying before, I'm not more and more self-sovereign. I'm more and more aware of how I'm still influenced by people and situations. But then I lose my orientation. And it might start even getting hard to get out of bed in the morning, let alone get up and do service. So it's so important to identify my divine and elevated sanskars. And I should say, it's so important to identify with them. Identify with those divine sanskars. This is who I am. Why do we enjoy looking at this picture of Lakshmi and Narayan so much? Why? How does it end up creating such beautiful feelings in us? It's because when I'm looking at these portraits, I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at my original, my eternal, truest self at that point in time when I'm completely running from my divine sanskars. That long list of beautiful qualities you gave, those are their sanskars, meaning those are my sanskars. And we were just coming into resonance, not with a picture, but with something inside ourselves. I'm finding that as much as I can connect to my divine sanskars and explore them and experiment with them in my everyday life, very powerful. It's very powerful. And there are other results, as I shared before. But even more, I've also discovered that my relationship with Baba has moved into a new chapter. And we always want to do this. Our relationship with Baba could be so, multi-layered, but there's always more to experience in that belonging to the Supreme Soul, God, belonging to Him directly. And I have discovered that when my focus is my own divine sanskars, and I mean exclusive focus, I liked so much how whoever made this flyer used the little child in the flyer, not that wicked old mother looking into the mirror like the fairy tale says, but in the picture of this flyer, it's just a little baby looking in the mirror, because we are these little babies, little baby angels, I should say. Baba is not talking to me. He's not talking to Sharonah. He's talking to that little baby angel. And at some point in our journey, if we feel like we don't have the kind of relationship we want with Baba, or if we feel we're ready to move into a next chapter, it might be time to connect with that baby angel in new ways, because that's the one he's talking to. That's the one he's addressing. And so as much as I'm identified with the one he is talking to, that much I will experience his support, his conversation, his relationship to me, and his love. The less I am identified with that baby angel, those divine sanskars, the less I will feel that support, that relationship. This is for a certain point in the journey. not necessarily at all times or in the beginning, but when we're ready to move into a new chapter, this is something maybe that could be of help. So my relationship with Baba improves as I make my one and only mirror for my sense of being okay, self-confidence, self-respect, self-esteem. When I make my one and only mirror me, but the real me, the divine me, and stop looking at any other mirror. Another result is that it improves my relationship with myself, which is at the basis of our self-confidence, our self-respect, our self-esteem, which is the basis for our self-sovereignty, right? We are in a school to study Raj Yoga. That is the means, that is the objective to the aim, becoming a self-sovereign. So if my mirror is my divine sanskaras, and I start really believing that that is who I am, then it's so much less necessary or important what other people think, the misinterpretations and the way things can get twisted, and the falseness all around. So all of this, because I realize that there are many, many wrong mirrors in the world, and we Brahmins have to be looking at the one right mirror. This is where that happiness and that lightness comes from when I start using the right mirror. I am fulfilling the purpose of my life. I am becoming independent, free, and powerful with a message that I'm delivering, which is what Baba calls service. Brings a lot of happiness, a lot of lightness. So actually thinking about mirrors, which mirrors am I using for my sense of myself, is basically just another entry point into the whole subject of soul consciousness and God consciousness, right? And the only real issue becomes, okay, how can I more connect to the divine me? This is the essence of soul consciousness, right? It's not just, I'm not the body, I'm a metaphysical point of light, but what is inside that light? And what part does that light play? So we're basically just back to lesson 1. And what are some more ways that we can prove to ourselves that we really are these beautiful Lakshmi and Narayan, that the divine sanskaras are there, and that I just need to connect to them and practice them more. So that becomes the question. And I have some tips for that, but maybe before I share, does anybody want to say anything?
I just want to say, dear Sharonah, I had written down the question that now you are going to answer and already answered part of it. And this is really amazing how our frequency just be equivalent and we can feel each other. Oh, just I have goosebumps. Thank you.
It's going to happen more and more as we unhook from all sorts of unhealthy sources for knowing myself and my value and my beauty. We're going to be more free to tune in to what is divine from Baba and from Baba's angels all around. And we are going to be tuning in more and more. And that's why I can understand in the golden age, there's so much less talk. And much, much more connectedness and belonging. They're all on the same wavelength. Yeah. So anybody else want to say anything or ask anything? You know, take a minute just to think about what I've been sharing. And yeah, take a minute. Anybody want to say anything? You've all become so quiet. What about the horoscope? Could somebody help me with that? Or Victoria, could you share what you mean by that? You mean maybe destiny or destiny? Using a horoscope as a mirror? Does the horoscope affect Brahmins? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really planets. Well, there you've got your um, omens, bad omens, good omens. They are affecting us actually, but that's what God is for. He's a much more powerful effect. But I have to be very focused, unhook from whatever else I would be using for my sense of my value and my self-worth, and focus entirely on the value and self-worth Baba is defining for me. And then I will be protected from whatever are the influences of the planet. At least that's how I've come to understand it. And protected safety under his canopy. And that's very important because there are a lot of very bad, evil omens, actually. But on the other hand, it just comes down to keeping myself in remembrance, keeping myself in holding his hand and under his influences. This is the definition of remembrance. Remembrance just means I am staying under the influence of Baba. Nothing else, nothing else. So while you all are thinking and beginning to wrap all this up in terms of what it all means for your journey, let me just quickly share some yuktis for heightening this truth that I am a deity. The divine sanskars are in there. In other words, for increasing true self-respect, true self-esteem, true self-confidence, that I end up vibrating like this Lakshmi and Narayan. I'm not influenced. I'm an influencer. I'm an influencer. This is what Baba wants from us. So first of all, I think it is very important to give time to defining your principles. This is very practical. This is to take Baba's Gyan and mold it into something every day for me. Like Baba teaches us, you're studying Raj Yoga. You are going to be rulers of the world only because first and foremost you became rulers of the self. So that's a principle for me. I am not going to make anybody else responsible for my mood, my state of being. I'm taking full responsibility for it. If I'm angry, the whole world can say, I have reason to be angry. Look at what this person is saying or doing to you, but I will not accept that. That's a principle for my life. So it's very, very good to reshape Gyan into very specific principles and then check, am I living according to that principle? Because as I do this kind of work, taking Gyan and molding it, or, you know, he says grind your own ingredients. It's more like that, you know, I'm beyond churning, I'm grinding to make it a principle for myself. And then to live according to my principles. I'm not living according to God's laws and disciplines. They are my principles. They bring meaning and purpose to my life. But as I'm doing this, this totally feeds buddhi, the intellect. This is what makes our conscience sharper. And then I really become my own best friend. It's much less go and look at the mirror. It's like the mirror will come to me and say, you can't think like that. You can't speak like that. There'll be this whole force inside me, not allowing me to go there, to go into that direction. So principles in the way we grind, we churn, we work with this knowledge in a practical way, and how it develops our conscience, which then helps us be our own best friend instead of our own worst enemy. But I would also say two other things. And one is something I call giving it to Baba. As much as I discover some old, stubborn, non-divine sanskar in me, experiment with identifying it and releasing it, give it to Baba. And I'll share briefly 5 steps that I have found very useful for that. First of all, sit honestly in front of a picture of Bap Dada, like this picture behind me, one that really speaks to you, one that you feel, you know, like you can really connect to Baba through that, and very honestly define that sanskar. For example, it could be anger, but then maybe if I'm looking at it really honestly, I see it's not anger, it's ego or stubbornness, maybe. So let me be very honest with myself. And in a second step, let me really explore the harm that I'm doing to myself by holding that sanskar instead of a divine sanskar, by allowing that old sanskar to play itself out, the harm. How every time that comes up, I'm depleting my own battery. I'm distancing myself from God. He's not ever distancing from me, not to mention what I'm doing to relationships, the atmosphere. Get very clear about this. And as a third step, explore what need is being fulfilled by this old sanskar, which is why you still have it. What need is being fulfilled? There must be some reason. Maybe in the case of stubbornness, it's because I need to be right, or I need to control the situation. Find out what need is being served by this. Because these first 3 steps are preparation for the 4th step, which is now you're ready to give it to Baba. You're saying to Baba, look, I've really understood the harm this is doing me. I've understood what I was using it for, and I don't need it anymore. Explore in that 4th step how whatever you were using that old sanskara for is no longer needed. Now that you know who you are, your part, and you have such a beautiful friend, such a beautiful mother, father. In this 4th point, explore how unnecessary that thing is anymore. So that in your 5th step, you can say, Baba, you can please take this from me. You can please take this from me. Because I don't need it. I will be using you and not X, Y, or Z. I'll be using this or that point, not this sanskar. And now, in the sixth step, if you're quiet in front of Baba, he will tell you which one of your divine sanskaras you need to be using instead. And then you just need to be practicing that, rehearsing that, using that for the next few days. This connects you to your divine sanskars. And as you begin to use them, they become more and more natural. And we've all had this experience. We are really transforming, or not even transforming. We're metamorphosing. We are not caterpillars. We are butterflies. And the more these divine sanskaras have been identified and practiced, the more I really feel very natural in my caring, my lightness, my sweetness, all these beautiful things, stability, security, power that we mentioned that we saw in Lakshmi Narayan. It doesn't go away just in one first sitting, but you will feel lighter after you do this, and you probably need to do it a couple times, but each time you'll feel lighter, and eventually you will see how that old sanskar loses its hold on you, and the divine sanskars will be much more present. And I see we're running out of time, but there are more yuktis, but I think already this is a very good one. And this comes from Anthony, very, very old class by Anthony Strano. For those of you who don't know him, a very beloved senior teacher of ours. He shared this many, many years ago. And I have seen how much that can help us grow into the true self.
Beautiful, beautiful. I was just listening like a poem, and so inspiring, so enthusiastic. And really, thank you so much, being a great instrument for Baba, her sweet angel. And there's one question in the chat box. Let me share it with you. What about if I sometimes feel angry with drama, with the role that I have to play? Somebody was asking.
This is a very good question because it's an honest question. And personally, I think all Brahmins have to go through a phase whereby really decide, is this what I want? Did I choose this? Did I make a contract with God, as he says, you promised in the womb? We have to make a decision about that. Because unless and until I'm in contact with this reality that I chose this and that this is what I want. My whole life I've been driven by ideals, and people used to look at me and say, you're going to make yourself sick by holding such high ideals. They aren't ideals. They are memories. And they come to me because I am that old soul who was there at the beginning of time and in her lifetime before that did this work, accepted this role. I'm going to fulfill my greatest ideals, not just about the world and relationships, but my own self. How much it comes down to what is my relationship with my own self? And this is the invitation of soul consciousness, because I'm not Sharonah. And Sharonah is not driving my destiny or my life. It's that baby angel in the confluence age at this point in time, she's trying to reach me. She's pushing, knocking on the door. And when he says, who has come to the door of my heart with ankle bells on their feet, this is the vibration of divinity as best experienced from Baba. But me too, to make it all practical, that's my higher self who's demanding to be seen now, and more importantly, nurtured. So take some quality time out and examine your relationship with yourself and what you really want. Maybe you don't want to be a Brahmin. That is so totally fine. Then immediately stop the discipline, stop the whatevers, because you just need to catch up with yourself and let the divine sanskaras talk to you stronger, because they will. And you'll be forced to listen and come into such a relationship with your own self. We can't dismiss this phase. It's very important.
Beautiful answer. Really so impressive. And I was just thought about one question. You say that enthusiasm for the BK life is so important and so vital. So, of course, we have to keep this enthusiasm high for the BK life so then we can progress, we can continue with happiness and lightness. But and this also gives me a meaning of life. But sometimes we lose this enthusiasm in time, and we just it becomes so mundane to live the BK life. We take it so granted
That's
and
right.
not appreciate it as much as we should. Even the Murlis, the Baba's words, the Baba's, the highest way of life, then what tips you can just give us that, we can increase this or bring the newness in our Brahmin life?
Yeah.
So
I
then
think,
we can continue. Thank
yeah,
you.
I think a very, very simple, straightforward thing we can do is feed ourselves a continual diet of thoughts of appreciation and thoughts of gratitude, to keep my eye on my fortune. And even, you don't even have to get subtle in your appreciation and gratitude. But even on the gross level, just look around. I like the color of that curtain. I love this lamp. It's so elegant. It just, even gross and basic, but we have to feed ourselves and train our minds to operate on that level of frequency, that frequency of vibration, because that is getting us closer and closer to the divine inside me, and then of course Baba. The reason I lose my enthusiasm, as I was saying, and I begin to take things for granted, is because I'm looking in the wrong mirrors. I'm identifying with things that are not true. If I look at the one real mirror, and I'm proposing that's my aim and my objective, my divine sanskars and emerging them, living from them, there's a lot of newness, because that's not me as I know me. And it makes the whole aim very practical and in my hands. And I think we lose enthusiasm when we just, sometimes maybe we just feel overwhelmed by the whole thing, or we have identified with failures. So this vibration, this frequency of appreciation and gratitude. Sister Jayanti was recently suggesting that we need to do it in the morning, come up with 10 things I'm grateful for, from the gross and mundane to the subtle and divine. And in the evening, especially in the evening before I go to bed. And she was suggesting, even if you somehow get yourself trapped, every hour, 10 things to be grateful for or to appreciate, and they have to be different. They can't be the same. So it comes down to awareness, doesn't it? It comes down to awareness. The truth has landed in front of me. Where's my vision going? You know, in the fairy tale, she's so totally insecure that she has to ask this mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? That's her own insecurity speaking. We should not have any longer such insecurities that I'm using people and situations as my mirror. Let me look into my own beauty. Let me look at Lakshmi and Narayan. Let me see that divinity. There's so much adventure in that. And that's also how everything becomes like a game. Like, yep, I was very stubborn there, wasn't I? I was totally arrogant, wasn't I? Hey, little baby angel, how did that one pass us by? It becomes like a game, and you know you're going to win.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Here's my request. Sorry, I've interrupted, but can we play that song just to finish
Yes,
up?
of course,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course. I have shared with Zoom team, so we ask them. Binur, please, could you put it on?
But I interrupted you, Esegu Ben. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say if they have any questions, please be prepared after the song, and then last chance.
Because I should have thought we were finished in an hour's time. Do we still have time?
No, we still have few minutes, and then we will have meditation afterwards.
Well, I was
For
thinking
world meditation,
world
peace,
meditation.
and yeah.
Okay, because I would suggest that we listen to the song in the meditation.
In the meditation. Okay,
yeah.
we will do so. Yeah.
I thought we were running out of time, so maybe
don't
finish
worry.
with any questions or any comments, and then we can.
If they have any, we just give them a chance, the last chance. So please, first of all, thank you for being with us tonight. And it was lovely to listen to dear sister, dear really Sharonah. Everything what she has shared was so valuable, like the pearls that we can use in our life, very practical things as well. So let me see if we have anything. Please share what Brother Anthony said, please.
Yeah, he gave those 5 steps. He gave those 5 steps for how you really give something to Baba.